long-awaited sequel to Brian Bertano's Strangers. What would Brian Bertano do if he were here right now?
He'd do Strangers too?
Yeah, he did. He produced Strangers too. He's too up on his high horse to direct it. He hired Johannes Roberts to make Strangers Pray at Night. And not pray as in prayer, the Lord's Prayer. They pray as in, they're looking for prey. Uncle
right.
Bill. This movie, though, before we get into it, did you know that this was shot in Kentucky?
No.
Yeah.
I had no fucking idea.
It was shot Covington, Kentucky, right across the river from Cincinnati. Kincaid Lake State Resort Park in Falmouth. I don't know.
Falmouth, Kentucky.
F-A-L mouth,
you.
Kentucky. Falmouth, Kentucky.
You go down there like, fuck you, bitches.
They filmed in June of 2017 in Covington and Falmouth. Which I thought was kind of fun. I mean, there's not too many.
That makes me look at it movies. Differently.
The movie itself follows a family they're going on vacation, or I don't know what in the hell they're doing, but they end up staying. They end up staying at a trailer park.
I don't know what the fuck they're doing.
I guess they're going on vacation.
I think there's something
road
about
trip.
Yeah, there's something about the daughter. Like, she gets into so much trouble and all this shit that they're fucking doing something with her. They're going to take her to, like, I don't remember. What the fuck was it? Are they taking her to, like, a military academy, or are they taking her...
Right.
Something like that.
This is before that, though. I think they're trying to... Because it's like a park area or something that they're going to... And maybe it's their uncle that owns the park. Is that right? Or the trailer park. They get visited by the little creepy blonde that's got the mask on. She's looking for Erica or whoever the hell she is. Is Erica home? Right.
Hey, bitch.
But she doesn't have the mask on yet for some reason. I don't know what the deal is with that. They don't really ever explain that either. I mean, I don't know if she was doing that just to kind of case how many people were there or what. And there's drama between the girl that's played by Bailey Madison is her name. Really young girl. You can tell she's not very old. Drama between her parents and her.
And her brother, too.
Yeah, and her brother. They all kind of not fans of each other, if you will. They're kind of out in the woods. They're away from everybody. The girl that's knocking on the door is looking for Tamara.
From The Ring? Oh, wait. That's some era. Never mind.
Yeah, Tamara had her own horror movie, though, wasn't it, Tamara?
It sucked, though.
Yeah, Bailey Madison's character's name is Mackenzie or Kenzie or something like that. Like I said, she's getting ready to be sent to reform school. Her and her brother just kind of wander around and investigate some other trailers in the area. And they end up finding Uncle Zebekiah, or whatever the hell his name is. He is scalped and maimed in one of the trailers, and then they freak out and run back home, and then that's basically when the stalking begins. At that point, you got Underwear Head and the blonde and the masked girl. They're all back for more fun and games.
I tell you what, the setup and in some ways, like, the execution reminds me of, and you tell me if you see this, like, it reminded me of The Hills Have Eyes. Just because, like, the whole premise of the movie is there's a bunch of people, like, out in the wilderness somewhere, and they don't know anything about the area, and then they kind of start getting picked off, and they're targeting, like, people in the family, and then, like, at the end of it, like, a couple of them kind of figure out what's going on and, like, start fighting back against the family or whatever in this one. And so that's kind of what it reminded me of. It's just not as good, but I mean, I think every movie that does that kind of thing copies that movie in some ways. it's a lot. The best part about this movie to me is the soundtrack, honestly. Like, I wasn't expecting it to be like, like every part of the movie has some really popular like 80s or 90s song attached to it.
I think that it had some good visual scenes in it too.
I mean it did, but I just don't fucking like movies like this. Like, I never did. Like, even back when these movies were popular, that style of movie, whatever that is, where it's just like, hey, we gonna fucking kill you. There ain't no reason why. We just fucking, like The Purge and all those Purge movies and The Strangers and what was the other one too? There was another one that was really similar to that.
Yeah, there was a bunch around. Wasn't there a Vacancy or something like that? Wasn't that kind of like that too?
Yeah.
But yeah, you mentioned the music. The scene with the Bonnie Tyler song, which everybody and their mother has used that Total Eclipse of the Heart. Like, I don't know how many. She's made a fucking living off of that song. Off of that song in movies, right?
Yeah.
So the most memorable scene in the entire movie is that scene at I guess it's a public swimming pool or something like that, where Underwear Head and the brother kind of, it's kind of like a chase sequence that ends. I thought the swimming pool scene itself, it almost made it worth putting up with the rest of the movie. And the movie's not very long. It says that it's 85 minutes. It's like under 80 minutes, like 78 minutes long.
Yeah. I mean, I kind of agree with that. Like, that was by far the best scene in the whole movie. And that whole, like, interaction was great. There's just something about those stalk movies like that where, like, a family's being stalked, and it just seems so, like, pointless anymore. Like, because there's no, I don't know. Like, it's kind of like, it's meant to be, like, handheld almost. Like, that's the style that they're going for. Mm-hmm. Not so much like a film, but like somebody's filming it on like a handheld camera and they're following these people around and stuff like that. And I've just gotten so used to seeing that now that it has absolutely no impact on me whatsoever. To whereas, like, you take something where, like, Friday the 13th, where it was clearly a movie and it was filmed like it was a movie, and I just feel like that's a better setup. I don't know. Like, that, I enjoy watching something like that more than something where, it's supposed to be somebody running around with a camera and all that shit.
The girl in it, though, the Bailey Madison or whatever the hell her name is, you could tell she didn't have that much experience acting. I mean, she was not very good. I don't think she was good enough to lead a role even in like a B horror movie or whatever. What do you think about that?
I thought she was alright. I didn't think she was horrible. I thought the brother was better. I thought he was a better actor, actually, than she was. I thought that the parents did a fairly decent job, too. But, I mean, it didn't blow me away like how bad she was or anything like that.
Just a lot of overacting, I guess. Towards the end of the movie, too, the Underwear Head drives his truck pretty much throughout most of the movie.
Yeah.
And his truck catches on fire, he's on fire, but by God, he still wants to drive his truck. So that's a little bit unbelievable. It was almost making him like like an unstoppable Jason Voorhees type character or something in it.
Yeah. Which he is, man. He's got the power of the fucking underwear on his head. Like a Mormon.
He's had that underwear on his head for over 10 years, so.
It's fucking. Yeah, it's like Samson's hair or something. You don't fuck with it.
They almost have like a Texas Chainsaw Massacre tribute at the very end of the movie, too.
Yeah.
They're throwing out there, so. I gotta say, I mean, I'm not for certain if The Strangers was just a longer movie, the first one, but I thought this one was a lot easier to digest than the first movie. Like, I didn't get as annoyed at just the pacing of it and everything like the first movie.
I swear to God, I think Liv Tyler has a lot to do with why the first movie is so bad. Like, she's just one of those anomalies that happened at that time period where she could not act, but they were putting her in everything.
Yeah.
at that time. So I do think that I agree with you. I think that this is a better movie than The Strangers, and I think that in my mind is why. Like, I can't stand her, and she was really bad in that movie in particular.
I've never had the desire to go back and rewatch. Like, the only time I've ever seen The Strangers is when you and I saw it in the theater back when it came out.
I think I watched it one more time on Vudu or something like that.
What I remember mainly about it, though, and why I didn't... for one thing, it seemed like it was a crazy long movie. I don't know if it was or not, but it just seemed like it was long. And the stalking and all that, like the invasion aspect of it, began almost immediately into the movie. Like, there was no setup or anything. Like, it was just right off the bat, and then for an hour and a half, 2 hours or whatever it was basically bang, bang, bang. Let me in, you bitch. I'm gonna kill you.
Yeah, that's what I mean, though. Like, I don't get the infatuation with a movie like that, where that's the whole fucking thing.
Yeah.
We don't need a reason why. I'm gonna fucking kill you.
Like, The Strangers, unless somebody actually requested it or something like that, which I do not recommend, I will never, ever, ever watch that movie again, the original. I'll probably never watch this one again either. But I just never had... There's some movies that's like that. I just don't have the desire to ever see them again. Yeah.
I mean, I will say that I liked it better than the first one. So on the positive note, here's what I'll say. I like the soundtrack. I like the pool scene. I thought that the mother and the father were good actors, and they did a pretty good job. I thought that the stranger chick with the blonde or whatever, I thought that was a pretty cool character that was pretty menacing in the way that she went about doing things. Until the end, where I'm just like, God, what's the most cliche fucking thing you can say in this moment? And it's like, takes her mask off. Why do you do this? Why not, bitch? It's like,
it's something to do.
Yeah, I got bored with bowling. I was gonna kill bitches. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm glad that time period is gone now, where those movies were popular, is all I can say.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. They waited a full 10 years before this came out in between movies, right? The original Strangers was a huge hit. And this one actually did pretty good, too, considering. I mean, I was looking up the box office on it. Had a budget of $5 million and made $32.1 million. So that's a pretty damn good return for a movie that just... Honestly, if you would have asked me without me looking at this, I would have figured that it bombed at the box office.
Yeah, I think those kind of movies kind of have like a built-in audience, though. Like, for some reason, the Purge movies, those movies, they just, I don't know, they appeal to people. They're not my thing, but they definitely are like a lot of people's.
Yeah, well, I mean, it seems like, though, it's kind of gotten overall mediocre reviews, too, according to 40% approval rating on Rotten Tomatoes, 126 reviews with an average of 5 out of 10.
That's about right, though. That's kind of the way I look at it. It's like, it's nothing amazing or anything, but it's nothing horrible. And that's really the worst type of movie to be, if you think about it. Like that middle of the road movie where you're just kind of like, I'll forget it in like a week. Like, I'll never...
You know, though, that time frame, the length of the movie, I think, is why it's not as much of a chore. You know what I'm saying? Only 78 minutes. Man, if Army of the Dead was 78 minutes, it could have been the best fucking movie of all time. Possibly. Well, no, probably not. But, I mean, it would have been way better. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's certain movies that just, they ask too much out of the viewer.
Yeah, Deacon Batista is asking way too much from us.
I like the length of it. That's the length of it, and then the swimming pool scene is good, and visually it looked pretty good. You know, it was well made.
Yeah, if you're into that.
Yeah, give us a thumbs up.
Up your butt.
Like, subscribe, and if you subscribe, here's something else you can do. Once you subscribe, you can click the bell notification. Right? and it'll notify you anytime that Dead Pit puts up new shit.
Or don't. I really don't give a fuck.
I want you to. I want you to.
I don't care.
Let's keep our community growing here on YouTube.
I don't like it. I don't want you to do nothing.
Listen, they need to do that now.
No, don't you dare touch it.
Thumbs up. Subscribe. And click that bell.
There's all kinds of wonderful shirts over at shop.deadpit.com. Simply the best horror shirts. On TeePublic, there are others, but they all suck. You can get some Dead Pit Radio shirts. You can get Last South on the left. The Hills Have Eyes. Texas Chainsaw. Oh, wait, you can't say Texas Chainsaw. All kinds of shirts, folks. You're gonna love them. Shop.deadpit.com.
Thank you to all of our supporters on Patreon. DeadPit on Patreon.com is the only place to check out a complete archive of the old Dead Pit radio shows all the way back from 2005 on, in addition to the midweek shows, fan commentaries, exclusive podcasts, and much more. Dead Pit on Patreon.com if you're interested. Tiers start at only $1.
We ain't